Welcome to More Than Mindset, the only podcast that bridges the gap between spirituality and success. Go beyond the mind with clarity and confidence coach Kim Guillory and learn how to integrate your passion to serve with your skills and experience to create a business you love. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the show. This week, I am talking about potential, reaching your human potential, and exactly what gets in the way of doing that. So are you ready? Let's dive in. Our potential is the possibilities that we are able to attain as a human being. The potential that you can reach mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, like even as far as you can imagine what is possible to bring into your life. That is your potential. The thing that gets in the way are your thoughts. The thoughts that your mind makes up. And listen, that's just your mind doing its job. Your mind is basically a projector. It's just playing back what you have taught it. Isn't that crazy? So everything that limits us is coming from our mind, from our thoughts. And it's coming from the story that we tell ourselves. So it's almost like your mind is sucking up all of the experiences and storing them in this warehouse, waiting for the perfect opportunity to display or remind you of what you first experienced. It's like a feedback loop. So imagine those school projectors where you put this clear sheet of paper with writings and drawings on it, and you put it on top of the light, and then it's shined on the wall for you to see. That's kind of what your mind does. It gathers evidence to prove that you are right. Your mind loves to be right. It loves to know. And the mysterious thing about life is we actually don't know. We think we know. It's very important that we know. We want to know everything, right? There's something about knowing that creates this sense of safety. Like if I know, then I can predict. I'll know what to expect. I can prepare. I'll be able to control, right? That's where it comes from, which makes total sense. And who doesn't love to control? Seriously. Matter of fact, I give you permission to control. The problem is we want to control other people. We want to control circumstances. And the mind wants to control us. And it's all for good reason, to keep us safe and to remind us of the documentation that came from us. It's kind of like when you say something to your kids and then you don't do what you say and then your kids remind you. That's kind of what the mind does. It's super fascinating. So what I want to talk to you about today is the willingness to watch the thoughts play out, to experience them. Let your mind carry you away into all of the thoughts and just be in the awareness without reacting, without believing. Just watch. And you'll notice that you don't go all the way towards what you want because the mind interrupts you. The mind distracts you. The mind comes up with stories and scares you. It's like warning meters, right? It's just always, be careful. You better watch it. Look out. You better not say that. You're going to insult someone. They're going to be mad at you. No one's going to talk to you. They're all going to hate you, right? Those are just stories of the mind. Now, you've heard me talk about samskaras before, right? Samskaras are imprints This comes from my yoga teacher training. When I understood samskaras, I was kind of blown away. So if you take this all the way back to understanding trauma, trauma is just separation from safety. It's an experience that happened. You felt unsafe, and then it creates this imprint on the system. And that creates this warning system that lets you know when you're in danger. It's just the way it works, right? We just don't understand that. And so we believe these thoughts that create these sensations that we feel in our body that give us these warning signs. And then we pause and we believe, and then we react or we shut down. That's the problem. That's what's stopping you from reaching your potential. Now, if you understood what was playing out, step 2 of the punchline approach, right? First, you got to get present so that you can become aware, so that you can unpack and understand what is happening. We have this incredible instrument inside of our bodies, right? We have our brain, we have our mind, we have our nervous system, and we have a very distorted understanding. It's just misinformation. But if we understood and we begin to question and watch and just stay in the awareness, it's when you begin to see what's happening, but you're not a part of the story. You're like an outsider, a witness watching what's happening. When you can watch what the mind does and use this statement, my mind says, my mind is telling me, and that way it separates you from it. And it's easier to understand. And you'll be able to separate what's true and what's story, gathering of facts. And when you do that, you're going to get a sense of clarity. Then the nervous system is going to feel calm, and then you will have access to the frontal cortex. And then you can tell your brain what you want, what actions you want to take, because you'll have access to that part, which knows exactly what to do. So the mix-up is coming from not understanding what is happening. So let's go back to potential. Potential is this vision or idea or dream that you have. It's this vision. I want to have this amazing marriage. I want to travel the world. I want to have time freedom. I want to make whatever amount of money that I want. I don't want to limit. I don't want a boss telling me what to do. Whatever your vision is, of course, you're going to have some sort of limitation, right? And you're going to want to go beyond that. That's all of us. For me, my personal limitation that I obviously don't believe is possible yet is reaching millions of people with the message and the tools of personal empowerment and self-healing. I have not met all of the people that I want to meet yet. So that tells me that there is a mental construct. So my mind has a limitation, which is stopping me from reaching millions of people at this point in time. Maybe it's not time yet. Maybe I don't believe it yet. Maybe I'm not a match to that potential yet. It's just an idea at this point. So think about your vision, your target, the thing that you want to attain, whether it's a healthy relationship, a lot of money, the freedom, the house, the whatever. It could be in the material world, or it could just be something that you contribute to the world. So start with that, envision it. And then recognizing the reason that you don't have it yet is because your mind has a story of why it's not possible for you, and you believe the story. I swear to you, it is that simple. Problem is, you truly believe that it's only for some people, that you don't know how to do it, or it's not meant for you, or if it would have happened, was supposed to happen, it would have happened already. Something like that. If you just start watching the thoughts, you'll be able to detect it for yourself. All I want to do in this episode is bring it to your awareness that the reason that you are not reaching your potential is because your mind is telling you a story. The story is coming from the samskaras. I'm making full circle here. Samskaras are the memories, the little traumas that are lodged in the body, the little scars that are coming from experiences, things that have happened. that you have now set up a warning system to make sure it doesn't happen again, to make sure that you're safe so that you can protect yourself. So all of this is like a mess of spaghetti, right? It's just all mixed together. And when you can just pause, watch the thoughts, let it begin to unravel, begin to notice, separate yourself from the story, recognize that the sensations, the emotions that are happening, or because of the samskaras, because of the trigger. And that's where the thoughts are coming from. Let me make sure you heard that. So the thoughts are coming from the memories that the body is holding. We call this emotional signatures. You can go back to the earlier episodes. There's a podcast call, one of the very first ones, Emotional Signatures. And I kind of break this down a little bit more, but that the thoughts are actually being produced from that. It's like an unpacking and unraveling. And that's basically the subconscious. So there's only one mind, but there's different layers of memories, the ones that are hidden, which you hide from yourself because you don't want to face, you don't want to see, you don't want to know, you want to eject, you don't want it to be true, you ignore it. And then there are the ones that you're aware of. Now, I've listened to a lot of you who say, I know, I already know that. So the awareness is not enough, right? 'Tis the reason I call this more than mindset. So just being aware of the thoughts is not actually going to produce the transformation. You have to be aware of the thoughts, and then you have to be willing to watch the thoughts, separate yourself from them, and take action towards what you want anyway. Then, when you have this nervous system response, or when these triggers are lodged, these memories come up, these sensations happen in the body, you have to pause, allow them to move through you, process, integrate the experience, allow it to happen fully and completely. So it's no longer a scar in the body and the system and the cells. It's not imprinted anymore. The imprint has actually been lifted, been brought to your awareness, and you didn't resist it. You allowed it to go all the way through, and you just watch it. Then you take on the new belief. That's when you plant the new idea, the new thought that you want to believe. This is very simple and very complex. So I'm hoping I'm not confusing you, because it is a misunderstanding or a misconception of what is happening. Those thoughts mean nothing unless you make meaning of them, unless you take it on as truth. It is something that you once upon a time thought were true when you were maybe a little kid, before you could question it, before you knew better. And you have been carrying what you were calling your truth, which is just this old, outdated experience, along for the ride all of this time, reintegrating it, driving it deeper, repeating it, making the belief stronger. And this is the recipe to recognize and to release so that you can reach your potential. Potential is possible for every single human. If you look at those who are in the worst case scenarios and you backtrack to their childhood, to their parents' childhood, and you keep going back, you will see where this is coming from. These outdated generational patterns, generational cycles that have been passed down repeatedly, never questioned, never understood, never unpacked or unraveled. No one's questioning the limitations. And that is what is preventing the potential from coming through. It's a mental construct. It is not true. You can lay it out. There are no facts there. It's beliefs that came from experience that is stored in the memories, in the body, and we keep it on the unconscious level because we're not able to face it. We don't know how to rectify it. We don't question it. And so we are resisting it. And that is why it persists. When we can stand back and allow it to be seen, acknowledge it. Don't run and hide from it. Don't try to ignore it. Just validate it. Just watch it. Don't be it. Don't become it. Just watch it and stay. Experience it. It's going to be uncomfortable. And then determine what you want. Allow yourself to have the full experience without resistance so that you can reach your potential. This is so painful to watch, even in my own life, even with my children and my grandchildren and my clients. We're not able to attain the human potential because of the conditioning from society, from religion, from history, from generational patterns, from our environment. We're bombarded with negativity. It's on the TV, it's on social media. You just mention out of the blue, just tell a friend you're going on a trip. Hey, I'm going to Mexico. Half of them or more are going to tell you, you need to be careful. Something bad's going to happen to you over there, right? You start getting warnings. There's so much negativity. And that is what is in the way of reaching the potential. Those beliefs, they seem so real because there's so many people saying them. And it's because your past experience, your memories are a match to those fears. And then there's an imprint in the body that's reinforcing it. And that is why so many people are stuck. So this week, I want you to pause whenever you notice the fear, when you notice doubts, when you begin to question possibilities and potential. I want you just to pause and notice and say, my mind is saying, my mind thinks, right? Separate it. Don't say I think or I feel or I know. Say my mind and watch the difference. Come into the More Than Mindset group on Facebook and let's have a conversation about this. If you are listening and you're not part of the community, I invite you to come to the community. Guys, we have been talking about human design. We've been talking about business. We've been talking about relationships, healing generational cycles. This work is available for you. If you are just listening and not implementing me, I invite you into my world. I invite you into our community because I really want to reach millions of people with the message and the tools of personal empowerment, personal responsibility, freedom and liberation and individuality, and self-healing. Let's heal the limiting beliefs. What do you say? Are you in? All right. That's what I got for you this week. Do the work. If you know someone who needs to hear this, I invite you to share with them. Leave a rating and review so that we can reach more people. And I would love to hear how this work is helping you and passing that on to the next generation, however that looks to you. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.